Great Scott. Great Scott. Great Scott.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Great Scott. I'm Scotty V, and I'm laughing because many of the articles and ideas and thoughts and things that I've been reading over the last few days remind me of a video I once saw on College Humor where all of the Justice League come together and Batman's there and Wonder Woman says, "Use your bat powers, quick!" And he just throws this little piece of metal at Darkseid and it just hits him and falls onto the ground. And then of course he's being choked and he's dying and nothing works, and Superman shows up and uses his super breath to get the whole army out of the sky. That, of course, is a super exaggeration, but it's very, very funny, and I've talked about this before, so to a lot of people it might be like, this is beating an old horse. That's true, but I'm going to do it anyway. There have been a lot of displays of the new Batman armor. There have been a lot of talk about how important it is that Batman comes across as hulking and much bigger than Superman, and so when they meet on the street, I guess the idea is it'll be kind of an iconic thing. You know, it makes me think of the joke that's in almost every Tom Cruise movie where he hits a guy and he's kind of crouching and then he stands up because he's ready to fight, but then the guy that he hit stands up and it's like, maybe it came from Predator originally, but then Tom Cruise like sees him and is like kind of smiles. It's an Indiana Jones movie. It's a joke that they use, but it's not going to work here, and I guess maybe they're going to try to use it because we all know Batman's better than everybody. You know, they'll have Superman come down, fly down, you know, the scene we saw in the trailer, walk up, you know, I'm here to fight you because of what you did to me, and they'll walk up to him, and Batman will just be so big that Superman will just cower, and oh no. But some of the articles I've been reading, you know, now that we've seen the costume on display, now that we've seen what it really looks like and what it's really going to be, it really makes sense that this guy, it's because it's 2-inch metal, and there's never been a bat suit that's been 2-inch metal before, so now we know that 2-inch metal means that Batman is going to be able to come up against Superman, and there's going to be a real fight, because, you know why? Because he has 2-inch metal around him now, and he never had that before, so that makes sense. So now, once you see this 2-inch metal, you're going to know that Batman means business, and that Superman you know, Superman might as well just give up. As soon as he sees, 2-inch metal, I'm sorry, I didn't realize you were going to have, how could I know you would have 2-inch metal? If I'd have known, but if you should have called me before we got here, because if you would have told me you would have 2-inch metal, shut up, and just pull all the metal off him and leave him there sitting there with nothing on. That's what's going to happen, that's what would happen. So, as I've said before, the only way this is going to work out is if Superman is somehow immensely weakened, and this is the part where I beat the dead horse. He needs to be either more kryptonite, you need to be blotting out the sun, whatever they did in the George Miller thing, they need to do all that plus more. Because if you saw Man of Steel, and I'm sure that Bruce Wayne saw what happened in Man of Steel. So if you saw Man of Steel, and you're Bruce Wayne going, when you see the building getting knocked over by Zod, and now you gotta do something about it because these two super aliens who could have destroyed the Earth fought, and now you don't like the other one who won, so now you're going to go down there and make sure that he doesn't save the Earth ever again, because that'd be terrible. You know, you saw how it happened, so now you got to build something, and 2-inch metal isn't going to be what you think of. So, there's got to be kryptonite involved, or he's got to know that when he meets him, he's going to be so weak that a guy in 2-inch metal would have a chance. Now, you know, Wilkinson, the costumer, has come out and said, we've heard this for months now, that the most important thing about Batman in this movie, Zack wanted to make sure that Batman was towering over Superman. Now, no one has said that we need him towering over Superman because then that would make sense that he'd be able to pummel him. No one has said that, but it just sounds silly because it's like, who cares how big he is? He could be as big as the Earth itself. But maybe the immensity of the Earth itself, the power that it would take to be that big and move your arm, maybe you'd be able to knock Superman down. But a human, no matter how big a human is, and then no matter how big the armor he's able to build around himself is, it doesn't matter unless the Superman we saw in Man of Steel is not the same Superman. Superman in Man of Steel was full-powered and fought 3 Kryptonians at one time, and then took out the last one and saved the entire universe and the Earth. that Superman couldn't be stopped by a guy in a metal suit. I said this about the Hulkbuster, the Avengers movie, but they made me kind of buy the way it went down because there were a lot of contingencies and there were a lot of things they had going, and Iron Man just kept pummeling him, even though there wouldn't be a way to create anything that would keep doing that. He had that, so he was able to kind of keep the Hulk at bay, and in the end, the Hulk was so tired he just wanted to turn back into Bruce Banner. So that's the way I guess they could say it would happen here. But the only way Superman would get that tired is if he was so weakened by something else at the same time that in the end, the pummeling would do anything. He never gave up with Zod, and they were flying around punching each other into orbit. So I don't think he's going to go, oh no, a guy in a bat suit with 2-inch metal, I can't! I give up. That actually could be a way that Batman would win. I give up. That might be the only way, unless kryptonite. Now, I read an article, and I don't know how these guys keep coming out. You know you sign an agreement that says you can't say anything about the movie, but apparently Ben Affleck's trainer, that's what this article says, has come out and said that the suit has missiles, and that it's built with alien material that weakens his opponent. In other words, it's built with kryptonite. And so he's going to, clearly he'd hit him with missiles to keep him, off balance. Although if you hit him with a hard enough missile, it's going to knock him far enough away so that the kryptonite doesn't have an effect anymore. And then he's just going to beam you with I-beams and melt you to a slag. But if he's going to hit him with these missiles, and they're short-range missiles, and you can hit him when he's 5 feet away, and as long as you can do it before he punches you once, and the equipment all falls apart, I could see how that could keep him. And you could see in a lot of the scenes, Superman's kind of sweaty. He looks kind of weak. He's kind of green at the gills. He looks grayish. So I'm already guessing, without even talking about this, it looks like that he's weak for some reason. He's kneeling by Lex at one point. There's green glowing around. So it does seem like, even though everyone said, we're not going to have kryptonite in this universe, that's what they got to do. And once they said that they're going to do the Dark Knight thing, the Frank Miller thing, it seems like, well, there has to be a big giant suit that has some kryptonite involved. And, in the Dark Miller storyline, my understanding is the suit was not powered by kryptonite, but Superman was weakened by the blotting out of the sun, the stopping of a nuclear explosion, the getting stabbed with a kryptonite arrow, and Batman just had the suit with the 2-inch metal, and we already talked about that. So, whatever, I guess. It doesn't matter, ultimately. It doesn't matter how big Batman is, unless there are, and Batman would have contingencies. That's the whole idea. He's like Lex Luthor. He always has a plan B and a plan C and a plan D. There are always plenty of plans in place so that he kind of knows coming to the battle. He doesn't know that much about this Superman, but he did see what we saw. So I think he would come with the idea knowing that there's got to be a huge difference in what Superman was in order for him to be able to face off against him. And it really, the biggest thing that bothers me is it sounds like a couple of kids, We haven't really seen Superman's point of view, but from Bruce's point of view, it's like, I don't like you, so now we're going to fight. But I guess he's going to have a beef, because they did show that whole dramatic scene with him watching the building fall down, but Superman wasn't responsible for that, nor for any of the other damage. But we'll see how it goes. Thanks everybody for watching, and remember, I am darkness. I am fear. I am the night!